Most consulting firms are starting to feel the pressure, but it's not always obvious why. Margins are tightening, senior people are doing more of the work, and the team structure just isn't working the way it used to. What's really happening is this. AI is starting to break the traditional consulting pyramid. And in this video, I want to show you what that actually looks like and how to rethink your structure so you don't lose leverage as things will continue to change. What you're seeing is the core shift. The traditional consulting pyramid is built on leverage, junior staff doing execution, mid-level managing, and senior people guiding. But AI is starting to remove the need for the lowest, for the base layer. Work that used to require analysts, like research, drafting, early analysis, is now being done faster and often directly by senior consultants who are using AI. So the question becomes, how do you maintain leverage and margin when the structure that created it is starting to gradually change and disappear? That's what we're going to walk through. This is where the breakdown actually starts to show up. If you look at the work historically assigned to junior staff, research, first drafts, data gathering, those are the exact areas AI is accelerating or maybe even replacing. And as that happens, there's simply less work to delegate. So what you start to see is senior consultants can get pulled in to more execution. They're doing more of the work themselves, not because they want to, but because the structure no longer supports delegation in the same way. And that's what causes the pyramid to flatten. Once the structure starts to flatten, margin pressure follows very quickly, because now your most expensive resource, senior time, has a tendency to gradually start being used for execution work. At the same time, clients are not living in a vacuum. They expect faster delivery, and AI is reducing what they may perceive as the effort behind the work. So you get pressure from both sides. Costs are moving up while pricing expectations might be moving down. And what this really reveals is that the issue isn't just pricing, it's structure. Margin pressure is a signal that the way work is organized no longer fits how work is actually getting done. So this is where the shift needs to happen. If you can't rely on people-based leverage in the same way, you have to replace it with process. That means defining repeatable workflows across the work you do most often, structuring inputs and outputs so execution is consistent, and embedding AI into those workflows, not as an add-on, but as part of how the work actually gets done. What you're doing here is moving from individual effort to system-driven execution. And that's what allows you to scale delivery again without adding headcount. Once you start to build those systems, the role of senior consultants needs to change also. Instead of being pulled into drafting and execution, their focus shifts to judgment, interpretation, and client interactions. They're reviewing outputs, shaping insights, and guiding decisions. So the key is to separate execution from decision-making. Remove senior involvement from repeatable work and focus their time where it actually creates value. That's how you restore leverage, not by adding layers, but by using senior talent more intentionally. Now, once execution is built through systems and roles are clearer, the team structure itself needs to be rebuilt, or at least reconfigured in some ways. Instead of layering people, you're structuring how work moves between systems and people and individuals. You define clear handoffs, what AI handles, what consultants handle, and where ownership sits. And you remove unnecessary layers of review because consistency is built into the workflow itself. Still review, but consistency has a major impact. What you end up with is a smaller, more structured team that operates much more efficiently. This is where it all starts to come together. When your delivery is built on structured workflows, you're no longer dependent on headcount for growth. You can deliver consistent, high-quality work across multiple clients without continuously expanding the team. And that changes how you compete. Instead of scaling through people, you scale through structure. Speed and consistency improves, and margin becomes easier to protect. So if you step back, this is really a shift in how your firm creates leverage. That's all that's happening. You're moving away from a model built on delegation and headcount toward one built on structured workflows, clear roles, and system-driven execution. That means reducing reliance on junior-heavy teams, improving consistency across your work, and aligning pricing more closely with outcomes. And operationally, it comes down to a few things: defining workflows, clarifying where AI fits, and being very clear about where human judgment is actually required. That's how you adapt the model without losing what makes your business valuable. The biggest mistake I see right now is firms trying to layer AI onto structure that no longer works. And the real opportunity is to step back, redesign how work actually gets done. So I'm curious, where are you starting to feel the shift in your own